what was discussed. If you do not wish to be recorded, please let us know at this time. Thank you. Big crowd.
That's pretty good.
I will call this meeting to order tonight at 6:01 p.m. Please rise and pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys, I cannot hear the time. It's really loud.
Nobody's in here, that's why.
Nothing to absorb.
Look at all those people. You can't see anything wrong. All right, so first item up for discussion tonight is our board annual calendar. And so I just want to check in with the board, see if there's anything that we need to move or adjust or add. All right, moving on, we will jump into our November 2024 bond communication plan. And I noticed this was presented by me. So I think priority one is make sure everybody has the one pager, the mailer, and more importantly, the bond key dates, which we need to review and commit. That's awesome.
So, board, as you recall, you had an interest in outreaching and engaging with the local community. And if you look at the first page in that packet or in your board packet online, we've already made the open houses and we saw wonderful engagement with our families, with cookies and kids and having conversations there. There are really only a couple of community events. What we heard from you is that you wanted to engage in anything that's happening in the community where there's large community event and lots of people. So Red Hat Days and Harvest Festival are included as potential outreach, and so we would need to learn from you which a couple of you would like to or are able to attend in those days. And I'd like to review just a couple of things with a question. One, I'd like to review kind of just the outline or overview of what's happening systemically. And then the question for you really is, what would you like to go to? What we think we've heard is any dates where there's a concert, secondary concert, band, choir, performing arts you'd like to attend. We don't have those dates solidified yet, so we'd be looking to add that. And the other piece that we've heard from you, I believe, is any PTA, PTT event. I know PTA is planning to host a large-scale activity in early October to mid-October at OES for two reasons. One, to engage all of our students and families, and two, is just to bring awareness and attention to the needs of the facility, because that will draw lots of people in. But we don't have an exact date at that point in time. So the question that we think we have for you all, and we put that in your board packet, are there certain athletic events that you would like to attend that are upcoming? And if so, which ones? So that's really the question we have for you and what we've included. And I can pause there and let you discuss that and see if there's any inclination of what you'd like to do. Or if you know from Red Hat or Harvest Festival who's able to attend, Bonnie will take notes and we'll get that prepared for you as well. And once we have that done, then I'll kind of walk through the big picture of where we see ourselves headed on overall system communication.
I can do Harvest Festival, I can't do Red Hat Days because it's on the first day.
When's Harvest Festival?
October 12th.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I need your highlighter. Okay.
I'm available on the 12th.
I am as well. Are these like all day events?
We do.
I think they are. If you want to divide it
We
up.
can
I
split
was
it.
gonna say, I think
if we
Red
can
Hat
kind of-
Days is.
If we can kind of split it, that would be helpful, I think, so that,
Yeah.
because I know that the Red Hat Days we went to, and it was good to have two people there,
Yeah.
but the Red Hat Days that we went to, it was a long, long day.
And you need cushion chair. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I heard about that.
yeah.
If we want to split it, if there's enough of us, we could split it. I wouldn't mind taking the first shift.
We'll probably take the afternoon
Okay.
On which one? On Red Hat Days
Red
or
Hat
on both?
Days.
or on the festival. Seems like there's
I
gonna
can
be.
do the festival, I can't do
As
Red Hat.
Bonnie's taking notes to clarify, on October 5th, Red Hat Days, who is available? And if there's enough, we'll create a split.
I can.
I can do Red Hat Days.
And it's from 10
Hopefully we're
o'clock to
breaking that
4
one up
o'clock.
too.
10 to 4.
Yeah.
10 to 4.
Yeah, or there's three of us, and
I
in
can,
the morning, it's usually like kind of slower, but then it picks up. So if there's three of us, maybe,
Probably that 11 to,
yeah, that second person could maybe overlap.
Or you could stagger.
Yeah,
1, 2, 1.
yeah.
I can, are you, is there three, or do you want another one? I can't do in the morning, but I could do in the afternoon, I'm pretty sure.
I will add you, and we can go with the 1, 2, 2 rotation. 'cause you
I
can't-
would say I could do afternoon on Red Hat Days if two want to do morning and then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we have another sign up that had some sports on it? Because I thought I saw that.
Not yet.
Oh,
In
okay.
your board packet, you have some draft sports dates.
Okay, okay.
What we think we heard is that just with the outreach and the results last year, you weren't likely to go to every home sporting event, but we didn't discuss or hear which events you would like to go to. So
Okay.
that's on the table for, would you like to do sporting events, and if so, which ones? And then we'll make sure the table and cookies are set up and ready to go.
I might have screwed that up.
So for Harvest Festival, I heard, I don't know, Bonnie, you clarify, I heard Melissa, Kathy, and Carrie for
Yeah.
Harvest Festival on October 12th.
Yep.
And I have 4 of you, Carrie, Melissa, Michael, and Joanne on Red Hat Days on October 5th.
Yep.
Actually, for the Harvest Festival, I thought all 5 could do it. Michael was in the afternoon.
Okay.
Is that correct?
The festival,
The festival?
I think so.
Harvest Festival on
Yeah,
12.
pretty sure.
I didn't say the festival,
I'm in the afternoon.
but if I need to, I can.
Okay, I thought you said the afternoon, but no, I'm gonna scratch you then.
I got that for Red Hat Days, afternoon of Red Hat.
Okay,
And then so for Harvest Festival, we have Melissa, Kathy, Carrie, and Joanne, with Joanne in the afternoon.
Mhm.
Okay?
And I, just fit me in time-wise and tell me when to be there.
Got it.
Nice.
And are there any athletic events, days are listed in your agenda? Are there any athletic events that you would like to add? Or would you like to discuss whether we should? Your biggest draws, of course, are home football games. That's where we have the most people.
Yeah, I'd like to be, one of my notes that I made going into this conversation is, one of the things I was really proud about last year was just being present and accessible. Even though those sporting events, we didn't get a lot of conversation like we had hoped. But I think maybe at the football games where it's a larger community draw and we get people who are from outside of our immediate school community, I think it'd be good if we could be at a couple of the home games. And I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, I don't have, football games.
I'll be there
I'll be
anyway.
there, yeah, I'll be there. And
Maybe
Yeah.
we could purposely pick a few that we think will have, well, we crowd, like
Yeah.
Eatonville, maybe.
Right.
If
Yeah.
Eatonville's here.
I don't know what the schedule is just
Yeah,
yet.
I didn't-
Will homecoming be before the vote? Do you-
I'm
It's
not
in
sure
October,
the
I do believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
coming from
Yeah.
that date.
So I think it will be.
So what I think I have so far, and I didn't see this closely, I just caught it though. It looks like there is a PTA, Family Movie Night on the 27th, so we would be adding that for outreach. October 10th, home football, and October 18th, home football. Would
Does
you
it
like to
say
do?
who we're playing?
No, but I'm sure we know that. I just
Yeah,
don't know who
yeah,
that
right.
is. But I'm sure the schedule's firm.
Where's the family movie then?
That's on September
No,
27th.
No, where?
Probably the
Oh,
half,
I am not sure.
September
Sometimes
27th.
I'm outside, that's why I'm asking.
it's at PTR Gymnasium.
PTR gym.
Okay. I don't know, volleyball games that I did, we talked to people from the visiting team. But people walk in and kind of find their spot and then stay there. We didn't get much conversation, so There's a little more wandering around with the football game and, um,
I think the gym sports are kind of, they just don't lend themselves that
Right.
well.
yeah.
Actually, the girls soccer team doesn't get along either.
That's kind of what I was wondering. I was gonna ask if
It hasn't so far.
you get a lot of people that show up.
One other thought that I had was school conferences, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at a table, but do we have a plan for having signage and something there, flyers?
Great question. So related to school conferences, it doesn't lend itself, since there's not a whole group component, to the table environment with cookies and such. It'll be spread out over 4 days. Last year, we got 96 to 100% engagement. So what Brittany and I have been discussing is we know we have an interest in wanting to elevate the parent registration to vote. We saw in that last election, 40% of our parents weren't registered. So we think that was a great time to do the bookmark or the placemat or other types of conversation starters and build our capacity in our teachers when families are in to, hey, did you know there's a vote? Are you registered? Here's how, QR code. And put some of those resources in our teachers' hands because they will have the direct line contact. Our admin, us, we wouldn't have that really ability. The other piece that we would have by then is our poster boards. So you're going to see our draft mailer, we'll get your feedback on that, but those will be in every school by then. But I'm not sure that they all come through the same entryway even at that time. Because like open house, some of them came right to the classroom.
Does OMS, don't they, do they still do this where they have a lot of their teachers in the gym around?
Correct.
So
OMS had a whole group, so we could
That might be a
have.
place we could put a table, because I know that when they're waiting to talk to a teacher, they're just kind of standing there.
They had the student-led conference format, and I believe they're going to plan to do that as well. So OMS, where we have that cluster, could be a place to have
Okay.
space.
Now,
When is that? When are they?
Conferences are the week of October 22nd.
Okay.
if we have a concert, let me say a band or a choir, I'll be at both, so
Okay.
good for them.
So what I think I've heard adding to this list so far with outreach is beyond what's on this list already. Add the 27th with the family movie night. Add any concerts as those dates are firmed up prior to November 5th. Add home football, 10th and the 18th. And OMS conferences where they have the student-led component. And then we will work on push out engagement materials with bookmark, placemats, some of those other things that are interactive and create a space where teachers can have conversation with families. We want to boost that registration and parent participation.
I cannot do movie night, I will be out of town. So was there somebody else who could work that?
We didn't say who, but we can, Bonnie, now that we know this information, we can push out an email where the vacancies are.
Yeah. so that'd
Give you
be
a chance
good.
to look at your calendars
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, and then we'll just pencil it in.
Last
I
year,
think that's a Friday night. So.
It's a Friday.
It usually is.
Yeah, I think, where did I work? I worked that last year with you.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did the glow. day.
Yeah, I did that
Yes,
one
but we
too.
were at the movie night, and the one thing we ran into was we did not want to give out treats because the PTA,
Right.
Oh, that's
PTTE
right.
sells stuff. So we
Yes.
didn't want to conflict with that. So anything we would want to hand out should be non-edibles.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like we had the glow sticks and we contributed it to
Yes,
PTA
yeah.
Yes.
instead of competing.
So,
did we get a junior Cardinal football game at all? I know that they get a lot of parents to pick them.
Not to my knowledge. I don't believe last year we had any junior card or non-school activities.
Because I think, like, when they play home, I think they play all the different grade levels from, like, first grade on up.
1, 2, and
Yeah.
7.
Yeah,
that would be good if they would let us.
with all lettuce, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get a lot out of town. That's going to be the difference on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay.
Because
I
a
know,
lot of teams,
yeah.
right, when they do that,
Right.
it's not just one. Yeah.
But all the
But-
parents should be there from but if it's a
From
boarding,
from
if
Oregon.
it's a home
Yep,
game.
yep.
Do you have a contact, Director Tracy, to know when that schedule might be? If so, would you be able to send it to Bonnie?
I can find out.
Okay.
Mr. Carlson knows too.
Huh?
Oh,
Sure,
sure.
Matt Carlson knows his son.
Mm, yeah.
So we will make a note to add that if you can send a date.
Yeah, I'll find
And
out.
Bonnie will push those available sign-up slots out to you via email.
Okay.
And then, as far as we know, we should have a base plan through November 5th. Just to give you the high-level overview of what you see on here, here's kind of what we are setting the stage for. Is think the end of this month, a letter from you that kind of conceptually kicks off why are we asking for the bond again. What we saw in the analytics last year is that letter resonated well from you, as did the letter from me, and so we want to build on that a little bit. So if you're thinking September, that's the kickoff. Board sends a letter to the community, and we'll ask you for feedback about what you'd like to include in that. We have last year's draft for here. Myself and or cabinet will still do the roadshow, and we'll go to every department, every school, every employee, 360 strong, and we'll make sure we're getting that message strong internal. In addition, we'll be having a presence at Lions Club and Senior Center, and whoever else will take us. With the push-out communication, after your letter, that October board work session, we're thinking is a wonderful opportunity to invite people into our space for a virtual tour.
Yeah.
That's not really firmed up, but we'll get your feedback. So probably, I would suggest we hold that board work session at Hording Elementary School in the gymnasium. And because those two sites, OES and OHS, are where the bulk of the construction is happening. And in my mind, I would love to see students touring and maybe stop and talk to a food service person, maybe stop and talk to a bus driver to talk about congestion, maybe stop at the culinary lab, and our culinary teacher students can provide some treats and show the space, or the ag science, what would be remodeled as predominantly trade ag science focused building. So picture 45 minutes to an hour, 5 to 7 stops, meeting kids, staff, and learning a little bit about our conditions. So that would happen in person, October 3rd. We would capture footage. So Brittany's going to be around capturing footage. And then every week thereafter, we kind of repeat that pattern virtually. A school principal writes a letter. Like the next week, Connie writes a letter and says to our parents and families and community, here's what our challenges are. Thursday, they are invited to see inside the scenes with a video. So if you remember last year, we were at PTR. We tried to show the gym and the cafeteria at the same time. Pick up and drop off. Obviously, we can't have the community come in when kids are here, but we can invite them to see the challenges that we have of running interventions on carpet and floors and converted bathrooms and things like that. So each week after you kick off the letter, we would have a letter from a school principal, followed by a video tour, which is behind the scenes, wrapped up at the end of October with a letter from me. Brittany's capturing footage on that virtual tour, so whether that footage works its way into each of the 4 virtual tours, or we do something to wrap it up, we're not quite sure. We just know October is going to be very busy. So that's kind of what the rest of this outline shares with you. And if there are any suggestions or feedback on top of that, either what you would like people to see in the virtual tour or any other suggestions, we're happy to take your feedback.
And can we do like a special invite to the community to join us that night?
Absolutely.
Tour, kind of hype it up a little bit. And,
Yep.
Because I'd love for people to see it in person. So that was some of the feedback we got is they show me the picture, show me the evidence that this is,
Right.
the conditions are so dire. And,
Of course, that's in the evening, and that doesn't show, I loved the one last time of the line for the bathroom, which I
Yes.
know people think, oh, what? But that's the
That's the
reality.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that shows how hot those classrooms are. I don't know, you wanted to have some pictures of thermostats. I've been getting some emails from some of my friends
Yes.
about the
Especially
temperature.
tomorrow.
What?
It's especially tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean at the open house, I
already.
think the parents were commenting on how
Oh,
hot the
yeah,
were at
yeah.
that time.
It made the
Also, what was really effective was the video that showed the PE at PTR while lunch was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one.
That's, I mean, that's just,
And I know that when those virtual tours are happening, we won't have students there, but you can verbally talk about that and address those things during the tours.
Except for the students.
I'd really like, whoever's idea this was to do virtual tours.
It combines, right? You want to invite people into the space, but there's challenges they won't see on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And so you have to put a blend together to tell that story.
Well, we could also, after we show them it now, then we could maybe show them a snapshot of what it looks like during the day.
Yes.
I'm sure Brittany has all kinds of talent to be able to stitch that all together.
Right, so, here we are now, and this is what it looks like when the kids are here.
And I think, at Ptarmigan, you can drop that divider that's gonna be there, and that picture, it speaks, a lot, what we say.
So we've kind of shared the roadmap conception. Sounds like we're a go for hosting board work session at Ording Elementary. And we'll build some tour component, and we have some of your through lines, and we're listening with our ears to kind of figure out what certain emphasis points might be. And then we'll work with staff and students and principals. We have a meeting scheduled early next week to kind of launch that idea. And our hope is that whether it's a virtual tour, in person, a printed mailer, a conversation we're having, we anchor on those common through lines. Like, what's the justification? What are the needs? What would this fix? And so that consistent through line is there for the community, because try as we might, this many years later, there's still confusion. There's still confusion about whether we have a bond on the books and what the needs are and what's growth doing. So we want to just be as transparent and open as we can.
I still think that it's a good idea that for teachers to write a personal note to parents. It really worked well in some other districts, and it's only one letter they have to write, and then they can copy it off. They can hand it out at conferences, they can do whatever, but that's who that person is connected to right now, is that teacher. So that's the person that makes the most sense to actually, and they can share some of the struggles they have, or.
Could the registration, so you can register to vote, maybe be added to the bottom of those letters, right?
Yeah, the little QR code.
Yeah, the little QR code, because, maybe a parent gets it at home and they're reading that letter and they're like, oh yeah, no, that's great, right?
Yeah.
Well, if they can scan that right at that moment with their phone, boom, now they're registered.
That's part of that idea of something to hand out and engage in conversation like you all did. If you don't have something, it's hard to get the conversation going on that topic. So whether it's a bookmark or a placemat, or we add it to a letter, we intend something to be there to engage and help people learn. And we're going to look at one of those pieces momentarily if you're satisfied with the outreach plan.
Yeah.
If that sounds good, we'll get into the materials and start to get your feedback. And with that, we would love to invite Miss Brittany Piger up to the big kids table.
I just want to say too, that whatever the latest message, I think it just went out today, about how much dollars does the state give, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was the heating one that you told me to do.
That was amazing. If people don't get it with that one, I don't know.
Come over. I don't know how
Come
you're
join
going
us.
to talk and speak at the same time. So looking at the first document she's going to walk us through is the one-pager. We did get a couple of pieces of feedback about the two different graphs on there, and some folks got confused. So she's made some changes that she'd like to walk through a little bit and just give her feedback on the one-pager. And once we're solid on that, then we know that will be what we roll with next time at all these events we've committed to be at.
Okay, this has gone through several iterations, but part of this is that we talked to Strategy 360, and a lot of things that you guys are saying are the feedback that they give us: show, don't tell, or not just tell us. And also, like, point out the big parts. So we took out these percentages and pulled them out. We did have two graphs on here originally, but we talked to several people that the two graphs was kind of confusing. They thought that we were counting like K-5 enrollment twice. And so, but this graph was like the most hard hitting because it's the largest growth. But also pulling out, and I talked about yesterday that this is like the overall story, and then we're pulling out the big parts. And then the whole point of this is that if approved in November 2024, a new elementary school would open in fall 2028, this would significantly reduce current and future overcrowding. So it just kind of sums it all up. On the other side, we also talked about how this was pulled from, not the other side, sorry, on this part. On the first part. Just the main facts. So less words, we're just what Orion Elementary was built for, and then how many students were over capacity. We're telling them so they don't have to do any sort of math. On another school district, I also saw that they did like a picture of their portables, and I thought that was kind of impactful. And explaining that we have, 750 students between our three overcrowded schools are being served in portable classrooms. And then I highlighted or outlined each of those. And then on the other side of the page, it's just a rundown of what each of the projects are, where you can find out more information. And then we had to put, one of the things is explaining more of the measured cost. And so we saw this on another school district is that passed their bond. This was Pasco that did this. They did more explanation about what the bond, how much it costs, and how much it will probably cost you per month for the tax rate. And then of course we're going to put on everything. Remember to vote for all of our schools. I told them through all of your newsletters, but remember to vote. So that's kind of like the main rundown of the bond one page.
I really like the houses and just saying this is how much this costs. I mean,
Yeah.
that's perfect because they can get that, oh, my house is worth this and it's going to cost this much. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, does it make sense or would it be a good idea to share how many portables we have to buy and what it costs the district? Because they're expensive and we have, because the bond hasn't passed, we're paying a lot of money for these portables that we're having to get. I don't know if it would or not when you show the picture of the portables, that you mentioned the cost, of what it costs.
What a portable costs.
Because I don't think people realize how much a portable costs, and so, I don't know.
Yeah, how many we're adding? I think, what was it, like over 40?
Yeah, and include site work and all those costs too, not just the purchase price of buying the box, but all the other ancillary, ground
Everything that
improvements,
comes
so
with it,
students can travel, what's the ramps cost, like all.
So I like the idea of somehow giving that information, but I'm not sure it belongs, in my opinion, on the bond package information, because I think it will get confusing.
Yeah, I like the
Maybe,
simplicity
yeah.
and clarity of
Yeah.
this, I don't wanna add to it, but that information should be out and
Somewhere.
available to people.
Somewhere we gotta have that, yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe like a post.
yeah, right,
This would be just basically your conversation downtown.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which part of where we're going is trying to reduce the total scope of information and the verbiage, so it's simple, easy to get. But we do want to build out the website, of course, with back and questions, release small posts with information over time. So just because it's not here doesn't mean there's not a story or a way to go.
Right.
What happens if we don't pass? Well, then we're gonna have to buy another 10 portables, and this is how much it will
Yeah.
cost, and this is.
It could be like even a
With
little,
everything,
Yeah.
set cost.
We didn't add to this one, though, that all school construction is only locally funded. We said earlier that was a big thing. I know
Oh, because
people-
it's not coming from the state, yeah.
So,
But it's not going anywhere but
but,
Verde.
well,
Yeah.
and that's the only way you can build a school, so I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
remember you said earlier, Ed, that was one of the things that people were astonished by. They actually, and they say, we'll wait a while and then the state will pay for it. No.
I find that
That's not how it
in
works here.
my corporate world, so we do sales, everyday direct sales to homeowners in every community. And in election years, there's a natural reluctance, everybody kind of wants to, hold their
Hold back.
money, wait, see what's gonna happen until after elections. But spending your money locally with students is the best way to control where your money is going, and it's
Right.
reinvesting in the communities that you live in. And
Right,
so
it's
that
staying local.
message
Yep.
is really resonating right now with people. They're like, okay, at the federal level, I don't feel like I have a lot of control over what's going on but the local level, I can direct my money where it matters the most. And so that whole idea is resonating. So if you have a way of sneaking that in there,
It'd be real easy to add a sentence or bullet.
Right.
On
That's
the
what I was
page.
thinking, like a bullet
Yeah.
of that, right? Yeah.
As long
Maybe
as
even
you
in
want-
like your heading right here, bond major costs, and then, you know,
Support local.
yeah,
Yeah.
100% of this bond measure stays local. Supports your local community.
yeah.
Mhm.
And like I said, I really like the clean simplicity of this.
Yeah.
I thought you did a great job distilling the key, just, here's the facts. Don't make people do mental math.
Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect. So I don't know if I want to clutter this, but at someplace that information.
Just that one sentence, I like the way Melissa put it, I mean, because it's not going to the state, it's not
Right.
going to the feds,
Yeah.
it's not going
Yeah.
any place but right here in your own community and affecting your own children.
Okay, so one pager, I think we have enough feedback to move forward.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do the other info on the, like a did you know section out on your website or something.
We have frequently asked questions, so you can
Okay.
do that.
Yep, we'll build that out. And the other space that you are going to launch, remember the communication is a letter from you all to the community. So part of what doesn't end up in the one pager might end up in the letter or a reminder or in conversation. So, we think of the whole scope of the communication plan. So if you wouldn't mind, Brittany would also love to get your feedback on the draft mailer. If you recall, the bond mailer, that's the staple document. You'll see much of the same graphics and through lines. We want to keep consistency where we can. And this is our draft of what would go to every resident in the school district. So
I like that front page, I'll just tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
it's easy, yeah.
I like that, yeah.
I was wondering if it was maybe like the connection throughout the whole mailer didn't make sense with the picture, but I don't know if it makes sense.
I love it
I
because
feel
a lot
like
of the
the-
people I talk to are all in on the CTE.
Yep, yep.
Yes.
And I also like the wording on the bottom fits right with the picture.
Right.
That student is very focused and you're empowering that student.
Mhm.
I don't know, I think
I like it.
I like it too.
Okay, thank you. The second page is just the same thing as the one pager.
Same one.
And yeah, we're trying to keep things consistent.
That's good.
Similar as the third page is basically what's on the back of the one pager, so just like a full review of everything. And then we do a breakdown of each project. And so we saw in the school district, this was Pasco as well, and they passed, so obviously worked for them. New elementary school, where, when, and why, to give some context to each of the projects. Same thing for Ptarmigan Ridge. Tried to cut down everything to where it's just the facts, what's happening, where, and why do we need this. Similar for Ording High School Remodel Edition, where, when, why, and then we broke out Ording Middle School safety and health upgrades.
Right.
So it shows that each school is going to be affected by the bond. And then on the very back, we also cut down how will traffic improve, and just put the bullet points, not a paragraph. I saw another school district do this where they did a map, so I built this, and I liked it because they kind of gave how each school is going to be impacted in kind of like a fun graphic way, from my opinion. And then of course they're remembered to vote.
I'm not seeing, it mentions it for the middle school, and heating and cooling upgrades, I
I
thought.
think so.
Yes.
I like this is very well done.
Yes.
I mean, we always say that when you give us something new, it's like, oh, we love it. But you just keep getting better. But I like the repetitive, where, when, and why. That's
Yeah.
very, very good.
Wait, can you also add the same thing about?
Is this gonna, are they gonna think that this is from Ording, or are they gonna think this is from the skills center? That's just what I was wondering. Is this an Ording student at the Skills Center, or is this the boarding, or what is this picture?
It's a stock photo.
That's a
It's
stock
one that I
photo.
just-
It's software right now.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
a placeholder, actually I saw it from another sample school district, but they had done something similar, and I thought that was really cool. So I tried to find one that kind of matched, but the more I look at it, the more I am unsure.
I just don't want them to think that it's like from the Skills Center or something, and we're taking a picture of that, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's a great picture, it's just,
I'm right with you.
I'm not sure if it, I'm kind of with you, and I'm not sure if it encompasses, like,
Yeah, the project.
the project,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah,
I don't know if it makes sense.
It is a great picture.
it's a great picture, it's just that it's
Yeah.
one person that I'm not sure where, and I don't, you know,
How does this relate to hoarding?
yeah, I might ask that if I was.
I can see that.
Do we have something that's, well, okay, so I was gonna say that I was gonna ask, do we have something that's, you know, kind of similar but authentically ours, because I would love that.
I don't know what it's
But this is also about the future of where we're going.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
like, you know, planning that idea, like this is where we want to go. We want to be able to have our kids doing this kind of work in our classrooms. So
That was the
kind of arguing
But I-
against myself.
I kind of feel like that's that picture too, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I wonder if there's any way you can, I don't even know if this is possible, but like show half of it is now and half of it is later picture? I don't know.
Or where we're going,
Yeah.
where we are now, where we want to go.
Yeah,
I don't know if our brains will let that leap that fast.
okay.
I don't know.
My brain will.
Get your
but I don't know.
management skills.
It's already made that jump.
If
so
you want a
that's good.
slider on every slider that says before and after.
Yeah.
Before and after.
Well, last time we did a picture of a kid, an ag student with a goat. Like a goat.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
A lot of school districts, we've done a construction photo of all of our students from every grade. A lot of school districts just do like a smiling kid. I mean, I think probably the biggest projects are elementary, put the elementary student on here.
Yeah.
I don't know, I was thinking about that today. I did talk to a staff member that told me that it was, maybe comes across as misleading.
Mm.
I
So,
want that.
I wonder if there's like a group, like a small group picture of elementary kids with a caption or something. I know that, I don't know, kids, that are our kids, because parents like to see their kids on different things, you know? Yeah, and maybe, I don't know if we can even put please vote or whatever, but I don't know if we can do that, but just like they're holding a sign or something, just because that to me is the start of the bond, you know, it's like, that's the first picture you see and then you go into,
yeah, it's a hook.
yeah, it's a hook,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I would, if I was a parent, I might look to see if my kid was in the picture or something, you know,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
I think it's always been our hit is having kids
yeah,
on our kids. I don't really like using some photos, I was just trying to find something that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
matched.
Yeah.
Well, this one's us.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah,
I
those are summarized.
recognize that wild hair behind there.
Yeah.
Good feedback. Other thoughts or questions on mailer? We're going to turn this into not only the final draft mailer, which I think is a 6-page
It'll be
trifold,
like our summer newsletter. Yeah.
Okay.
and then we're going to turn this information into informational boards. And so trying to keep that through line we discussed last time of just there's similar visuals, similar messages, things like that. Any other feedback for Ms. Brittany?
I do want to say, I really like this. This is something I poked at us before about using jargon and words that make great sense to the district and people inside the schools, but don't mean anything to the outside community. I didn't see any of the jargon in here, so I appreciate that.
I really tried to cut it down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen in your research as you're looking at other school districts, has there ever been anything like this that had gone out that didn't have a photo of a person or a building and was just like giant text?
I have seen like one-pagers that have like a lot of, what you mean, like big font, like on the front, just like.
Yeah, so like at our kickoff, those t-shirts, because kids,
Yeah.
just like something, I was just throwing out something, if we can't find a photo that we haven't done that hasn't worked, or this, you know, just throwing something out there.
We'll have good photos. We got bazillion stock photos. Wonderful children.
Yes.
I just don't know what permission we have. She'll figure out, make sure we're okay to
Gotcha.
publish it, but she's got no shortage of
Okay.
amazing kid videos.
I think the more real kids we can get in there, the better,
Oh,
personally.
People are more likely to read it because they're looking for their
Yeah,
child,
yeah,
or like,
yeah.
oh, that kid.
Yeah.
You get like the herd of OES kids going into the doors. Massive, you know, and everybody funneling through the front doors.
I mean, maybe it could be like a picture of that, or like PTRs. I have a picture of PTR and slip gym, and maybe we could put a caption at the top. We could caption under. I have to think about how I want to organize that. But maybe like a fact
Yeah.
that this shows.
Yeah.
Take a picture of the alley and all that drop off time. No, I'm kidding. That's just, that's a zoo.
Or just something in kind, you know, supporting the students' need space, or, you know, invest in your community. You know, when is this gonna hit? When will this hit?
This will hit the week before ballots hit, so ballots hit about the 18th, so this will be about the 12th, 11th, something.
Yeah,
I
so
think that
it's-
maybe that local message would resonate.
Yeah.
Something, something maybe a little more abstract with pictures, or,
Something that can maybe tie the need for the community, the school's need for the community support. I don't know, like, you know, like, I don't know exactly how to word it, but it's like, we need you to make this happen. You know, we can't do this without you. You know, we trying to combine us together and saying this is not just us, it's all of us, maybe.
and not just students, but this is an investment in
Yeah,
hoarding.
or Northern,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it's true, you know, prices go up and everything,
Yeah.
but better schools, so.
Investing in our future, a group of kids, we did that before.
What if we did like a parent and a child on the front? So it's like a community and student, maybe a parent, child, and teacher group photo.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone that shows community
Yeah.
partnership.
Yeah. Friday Night Lights.
Oh, yeah.
And get a parent that graduated
Yeah,
from there
that's
too.
Legacy.
Yeah.
Do you think Friday Night Lights though makes people think too much like it's all about sports?
Maybe.
I wouldn't put
Possibly,
sports.
yeah, yeah.
would
I was
go
just trying to think,
classroom.
when are we all community together?
Yeah.
If there's another
That's true, yeah.
parade day, you know.
The homecoming parade, but I don't know when we're gonna get there. But what about,
The walk when the graduates went through,
oh yeah, I love that walk, the walk picture's really cool.
Yes, but if you're new, you have no idea what that is.
Right.
So
right.
that's another, or if you're into Holly, they don't get it yet.
But the
I would love to
the
have-
CTE thing, we gotta keep
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gotta be,
In there, definitely.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be cool to put, if we had signs, support boarding schools or whatever, and we had, like, we could take pictures of the businesses holding them, the person holding their sign, because that shows that the businesses are supporting boarding schools, or,
Yes.
you know,
Mhm.
something that ties, like let's say Nunley's, everybody knows Jim Nunley, you know, I mean, if we could get Jim Nunley just to stand out there and hold a sign, please support boarding schools, or, you know, Clementina, everyone loves Clementina, or,
if we did that in front of their business, we're also
Yeah, I was
giving them
gonna
free
say, give
Yeah.
them some,
They're
yeah.
for doing it.
Mhm.
Last time I went to every business that was open for a few days, every single business, and gave them a letter from me and the citizens community. And people were so grateful and had questions and wanted to talk, and so something that connects the businesses and the community, I think would be good.
I know when we
Yeah.
go to state for football, we go to each business and ask them to put signs in their businesses, and they love it. It's like, yeah, they make room for us, and they're, so, and we used to have like sports calendars in every business, and we kind of lost some of that, but maybe reinventing the community and the school together.
Some of the ideas would not be consistent with PDC guidelines, although great ideas that we will share with the yes committee where those lines separate, right? So
Yes.
we are allowed to communicate facts
Yep.
and information and details, but if you engage in that advocacy around support that could infer a particular way to vote, that would be problematic for
Yeah,
us
we
to.
just say,
Good point.
we could say, please vote.
That's why you're.
Well, we can say vote,
Yeah,
yes, and
please vote.
some of these ideas can come. So do you feel like you have some good ideas of where to, sounds like home run on a lot of information. She'll make some slide edits to maybe a tagline and picture of kids and focus on elementary in the cover, and then we are off and running.
Nice job.
Thank you.
I want to tell you that everyone loved your calendars.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we were handing them out like crazy, and they're all like, this is so cool. It was a great idea.
It was great.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was
I was
great.
nervous that that was a good idea.
No, it was
Oh,
wonderful.
no.
They loved it.
It was a hit.
Yeah.
We had families taking two, split households.
Yes,
That were
under the
just like,
ground.
oh, if mom gets one, dad
Yeah.
gets one too. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a great idea.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So the reason why we led with those ideas around outreach, you don't have to be here for this part's their homework. Is we wanted to make sure you were grounded before you decide what you want to do with that letter. So you've shared many ideas about the rationale about why and what would happen, what the impact would be, why as a board did you decide to run this again. Attached in this packet that we have, both online and hard copy as well, is the draft letter that you sent last year. You can either think aloud and share some things that you would like in this letter, and between Bonnie and I, it will magically happen and get reworked and sent back to you for your final review. Or one of you can take a lead in getting feedback and draft it and then send that to us. We don't care, we're here to support. But somewhere between now and the end of September, we need finality on a letter that represents your thinking. And if we can get that before the next board meeting, of course, then you'll all be here to sign it on our next regular board meeting day. So I don't know how well that matches and what you'd like to do, but that's our need from you. Ideally, whether you think aloud and we draft and bring it to you, or one of you wants to take a lead, we would just love to have a draft of your letter by the regular board meeting, and then we can get you all to sign while you're here.
I don't want to take a lead, but I would love to see in this, because we've already, like the first two paragraphs, I think are kind of already, we've sent them out there multiple times. But the $0 from the state if no bond is passed, I think that's an excellent message, and it would be cool to have that in our letter, and then the what happens if we don't. That's just my, those are the two
That
highlights.
could be also maybe a place where we do mention the costs of the portables.
Right,
And I know that right now, safety is big on parents' minds.
Yes.
So,
I mean, let's look at
Yeah.
you know, anything,
local school districts around us with
yeah,
happened.
safety is
Yeah,
huge,
yeah.
so.
I have one suggestion about the wording in the third paragraph where it's talking about the safety, health, security. When you say, imagine trying to learn to work, it makes it sound like that might happen, but it is a reality, it is happening. So I think.
I'm just saying,
Should you
trying
just say
trying to
learning
learn.
or working?
Learning it, because it is a fact, it's not a,
Learning in this environment or whatever, right?
learning in an environment where the temperatures regularly reach the mid-80s to upper 90s. Because I don't want them to even think that we're just making, this is a possibility. No, this is what's happening now.
Well, I thought it was really good at open house with all the parents going to the classrooms, because they
Yeah.
definitely felt it.
Yes.
I can, if you guys want to send me ideas, I can try to put it in a letter form and show it to you and see if you can.
All right, we will send this draft to you. I think you got a lot of nuggets already about ideas that resonated, things we like. Of course, you have documents here to operate from with some concrete facts and such. And Joanne will take a draft, send that out, and then we will do whatever we need to do to support you as a team and make sure that you have a final draft. What Brittany and I will be doing next week, we're going to meet with principals and work to make sure their letters and the videos have that consistent through line. So we're always anchoring back to the same core message and bullet points.
I think in the paragraph about the CTE and that, It would be really great if we include that information you shared about, we have the same number of labs that
yep,
we
on the
have,
slideshow.
and
Yeah,
So what it was, I'm sorry, I was,
about mentioning that we have the same number of labs that we've had since
oh, good.
There's been
86.
no new lab space since 1986, when we were at a school of 250 students. Now we serve over 900.
yeah.
Right.
And we're trying to support 6 different career pathways. And we have no space developed or articulated for the trades. And that's been a strong interest of yours and our local community, because those are living wage jobs right out of school.
But I still remember you telling the businessmen that fact, and they were all going, what?
They did
Yeah,
say what?
yeah, that's what I'm saying, I think is very powerful.
So Joanne will send it, you give some feedback. When we get it, we'll put our eyes between Brittany, myself, Bonnie, make sure that we think we've heard. I'll probably tune it with you since I won't see everybody, and then hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we can say winner chicken dinner.
Perfect. One thought I had, and it's not even, I mean, it could be part of bond communication, but just, I think people's view of our district is still valley-centric. And some images of, that aerial view of our district with homes in Tahali and homes in Sunrise. Like, I feel like we need to push that forward in people's
Realize that
minds.
we're outside of the
Yeah,
valley.
yeah, and that the growth, and we keep talking about growth, but no, like seriously, there's dirt moving. So,
But just make it sure they don't know that we're not the ones doing it, because we always get that. Well, why do you keep accepting people?
That's okay.
It's like,
bring it. I hope they say that,
yeah,
because
put
then I
that on
can
there somewhere.
Yeah.
respond to
Yeah.
that. I want those people surfaced so that we can address it.
I can get a couple sentences here that this shade represents the 44 square miles of the Ording School District.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Say-
And our boundaries have been established since, I don't know when, but at least 1991.
Yeah, we don't want any citizens telling people that they were changed 5 freaking years ago.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but just over, and if it doesn't work in the bond, that's okay. I just think over time, people need to have a newer view, an
It's-
updated view of.
Part of my presentation, I anchor back to the map and the growth and the homes coming. So it'll be part of everything that we outreach to. We'll also build that space, it's already there actually, on our FAQ.
And I do see this now that you pointed it out. I didn't recognize it for what it was before. So
Yeah.
that's Ording City,
Yep.
but look at how big our district is
Yeah.
compared to the city of Ording. Yeah.
I think whatever you did with the senior citizens worked, because it seems like we had a lot of positive input from them. So like, whatever, I think really helped putting that out, that if there's certain income, they might be able to not have to pay that, and just really pushing that, because it seemed they were pretty positive.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work up into holidays.
No.
You reminded me though that we have to get to those communities.
Yeah.
And we can't expect them to
I know.
come into town to go to
Right.
town hall, so somehow we've got to get
And they
to.
don't always go
the-
online,
No.
that's the thing.
We've
So-
got to get to Prairie Ridge and get to Tahali and get to Sunrise, and somehow, whether that's us or the community committee.
Do we
Probably
still
yes,
have
maybe.
contacts with the woman who does all the community events out of Prairie Ridge, so that we know when she's doing events?
Is that through the health department?
No,
No.
that's through the
The community
community center.
Right.
Yes, we have regular contact. Jennifer was the last one in Prairie Ridge doing some community outreach in that area. I am unaware of anything that's happening in the immediate future, but we have had interaction. I believe of ours right now in Prairie Ridge, there may be 18 to 23 families somewhere in that neck of the woods. Is what we learned. She's nodding, so I think I'm close in that number. But yes, we've had ongoing connections and outreach when they have their night out events and things of that nature. I think that was the last one we went to, the Prairie Ridge Night Out.
Yes.
I think someone at the senior center told me that for lunch, they typically have like 98 people that show up, so that might be a good time too.
Yep, we'll be back there eventually, probably mid-October, is when I think we're targeting senior center, maybe that second week,
Okay.
before ballots come out. We're trying to get to as many places as we can before ballots come out. Okay, I think we have everything that we need on our end related to bond communication. Thank you.
That's a lot.
Next item on our agenda is the Washington State School Directors Association WASDA General Assembly. So Melissa, with your post-it note kind of handbook.
I do much better with printed material. I will take down a tree. It's just much easier for me. So last year, I attended the General Assembly, and just to clarify, I think some people don't necessarily know what WASDA is and what their purpose is for us, but they are they're a resource for school districts all across Washington, and their job for us is to advocate for the things that we need as school districts, as public school systems. Their job is to advocate on our behalf, and they give us, you know, the new updates to our, oh my goodness.
Policies
Our
and
policies,
procedures.
yes, as it relates to the laws as they come down. So the General Assembly is actually the time where school districts get together and they decide where they want WASDA's focus to be. And what kind of amendments to current existing policies through WASDA do we want to see edited for whatever reason. So last year when I went, it was kind of a big year. They had their most attendance ever. And my personal opinion about what was going on at that time is that the smaller school districts were trying to really make their voices heard over some of the larger districts. So it's important, I think, that we engage with the process because we are a smaller district. We don't need the same things that Seattle, Tacoma, and Renton. We don't need the same things that they do, nor do we need the same things that, you know, maybe Richland, you know, needs. So being able to attend these kinds of meetings, read the policies that they're looking at and what they think they want us to advocate for, making our voice heard, our one voice, is important in my opinion. I will also say that being the ledge rep, it's taken me this many years to finally understand kind of what's going on. When you work full-time and you do this, there's not always a lot of time to really dive in, so I find it complicated, which is why I take down a tree. But, so it was linked into the board documents. You have the General Assembly handbook. I kind of just laid out the sections. There's bylaws and proposals in the very first section. It's very small, which is directly related to WASDA and how they run. And then there's position proposals, permanent and legislative ones that are directly to the advocacy of school districts. What I need from you all is a couple of things. Firstly, for everyone to go through this and offer their, yes, I support this amendment proposal, or no, I don't. Last year, somebody put together a really wonderful table and it had the links to specific things and we could go in there. I tried to create that and got lost. So I don't know who did that, or if it's easy to just plug those things in there. But the ones I am most concerned about are not necessarily amendments to existing things, because a lot of those, and you will see it as you go through it, a lot of those are smaller school districts that are trying to again, make their voices heard by specifically saying, let's only focus on these like 2 things, which some districts feel like that eliminates their advocacy. So I have some opinions that I'm not going to share just because your opinion might not be the same as mine and we're one voice. So, but that's what I need. We have some specific proposals. The Clean Buildings Act funding specifically is on page 60. And that is actually Washington State passed a law where all school districts they have to meet these certain requirements. I think there's a time frame for that. And I believe that this particular one was talking about funding, that they shouldn't, this particular position says that WASDA shall initiate and or support legislation to fully fund components associated with this. So I think that that's one of the things that we as a district have always agreed on. Don't give us a mandate and then not fund it because we can't afford to do it. So
Right.
as you're looking through some of those things, to me, this would be a yes one for me, so I would mark it as a yes. But when the General Assembly comes along, it's a 2-day virtual event. And we just go through and vote as those policy amendment changes come up. And you'll see these, they look a lot like our own readings when we come through and have amended readings and policy changes of what changes, and then to have a clean one. The book is actually pretty well organized, I think, with their sections. It's clear, the kind of legislative funding and allocations, and then there's like staff, governance, learning staff, funding, capital facilities and school constructions, association operations, and then they have the amendment proposals, and then they like to confuse us all by saying an amendment to the amendment, and I don't know where these people have all this time, but that stuff kind of ends up a little bit over my head, and then new position proposals. So you'll also see in there that you have who's actually submitting the proposal, and they usually will give the committee at WASDA. I don't even know what they're called anymore. The legislative committee or the review committee, whoever's doing this.
I was gonna say, I'm on page 70 here, and it says
Yeah,
submitted by Moses Lake School District.
Correct, yeah, and then the resolutions committee at WASDA gives a recommendation, either a do pass or a do not pass, and then if it's a do not pass, they typically will give a reason as to why, why they would support not passing it. And usually what I've seen is either because there's duplicate policy somewhere, so this becomes redundant.
So you submit the ones that have the most interest in, or does it you just vote?
Everything that's in here will be voted on.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's, doesn't necessarily mean that we would have to vote if it's not of importance, I guess. But
I was just wondering if it mattered if we were all saying certain few things that we were interested in, if we were all in agreement that it would have a little more power, but it won't, because they're voting on everything.
right, they are voting on every single thing, and the only thing that would give me pause in that, I wouldn't want to assume, I guess, that you thought the same way I did, even if it was about funding, and we're going to say, okay, Ording School District, we as a board, if anything in here says, no policy without funding, or no mandate without funding, we'll vote yes on that, but I wouldn't want to take the responsibility of saying that I understood that the same way you would, so.
Oh, no, I was meaning if we gave it to you and then we saw the ones that had them, we were most in agreement
Yeah.
after we voted, but,
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
but it's not gonna make any difference.
No. Yeah. So,
How do you want us to give you back?
Hearing you say, Bonnie
what I'm
and I
wondering.
can
I'm
look
like,
at
wow.
what we did last year, what what sounds like to me a Google sheet that had each of
Yes.
the proposals, each of the names, and then you go to your name and fill in the sheet, and then you can see where everybody's at, and you'll have the information. I don't know if we did that, but it's easy to do.
I did
How's
it.
your Google sheet?
Did you do that?
I did it.
I don't remember
Try and
that.
pull up.
See, I was trying to create that, and I was just like, I don't know who did it. I just lost track of myself. But there was,
I'm happy to hold it anyway.
okay, and there was also because you had it linked, you had each title linked in there, so you could actually look at that without having to go to,
Through all the pages.
through all the pages.
I don't remember doing
Which,
that.
that would be,
There was
I
some
think you
link
did
that,
it last time, Carrie, but I'm gonna go back and look at the.
Yeah, and I remember there being like columns for each of us, yes, no,
yes,
but
yes.
I don't
I'll
have the
figure,
file
I'll figure
anymore.
it out.
So that kind of, we need to have that, and it needs to be done, because the General Assembly is the 20th and the 21st of this month. So we will need to have our process done, I would think, by early that week,
Yeah.
which is, the 16th is Monday. My second issue is, I would not be able to attend this year. I have an out-of-town wedding to be at. I may be able to attend on the Saturday parts, but not the Friday. So I need somebody who's willing to be there for our vote. I will say it
What
was,
day is it?
it's a Friday and a Saturday.
How long does it go?
I want to say it was a flippin' all-day thing. Most of it was, I spent the day,
is it in Olympia?
no, it was virtual.
Okay.
So I was off camera all day. They did schedule breaks. The first part of it was going through like how it works. There was a lot of discussion last year and a lot of arguing last year, which I don't think is going to happen this year. So I'm hopeful it wouldn't take as long this year. It should go a little quicker. But like with anything, there are people who like to hear themselves talk.
And that's the date, I'm sorry, I'm thinking, do I want to commit to this?
I just, if it's at all possible, if somebody else can, I definitely won't be able to do it on Friday. So I might be able to make Saturday work. And if we can't, I think that because you can't do a proxy vote, you can't send in your vote to somebody else. If you're not there, you don't get your voice heard. So I do think it's important. But this is my nephew's wedding.
I have to look at my calendar, but I might be able to do Friday, for
Okay.
sure. I might, I'll look and see the date.
I'm a question mark on Saturday. I have commitments that day, but I don't know what time I have to be there.
And honestly, I'm not exactly sure there's anything, my 3 days spent glancing through it didn't seem like there was anything. Last year, there was a lot of important things in there. I didn't see anything that was new necessarily and exciting. Most of these this year seem to be amendments and amendments to amendments. Which I think is just splitting hairs personally, but
Some people like to do
but some people like to do that. And I will say, anything that comes with, advocating for funding for any mandate. But
Something like that. What was the date?
it is the September 20th and 21st.
20th,
Oh, shoot.
21st. I cannot.
There's none of them. I don't know what that was. I think I can't do it then. We need to have somebody.
Fair is not over.
How by that time?
That's the,
I open it
it
and
ends
say,
Sunday. So priority one is getting you our votes.
Yes. And then,
Priority two
and let's
is
see, and then if we can find somebody to be there, and if not, we'll just have to be okay with,
missing that part.
I have to say, I don't think, well, last year was the first year I ever went. I think you went the year before.
Yeah.
So in my 5th year, I think we've only been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's, not the end of the word, we're still going to have our advocacy. I just do think when presented with opportunity,
Yeah.
we should take it when we can.
Yeah, and it's not, it's just listening to the argument, when they open the vote, cast your vote,
Seconding and then,
seconding and waiting,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it runs a lot like our board meetings where they say, you know, move to approve this, somebody seconds, and then puts their yes or no button. And I believe one of the big issues from last year was the one vote, one district, so there's no more weighted,
Yeah, yeah,
which was a thing. So the bigger populated school districts got like 9, 10 votes.
Oh, wow.
And then the rest of us got 1, maybe 2, I think,
yeah.
you know. But they did that was the big thing that drew people in last year was because the small districts were
Well,
just
no
not.
wonder you had an argument going on a lot.
Oh,
right?
yeah, there was a lot of arguments going on,
Yeah.
but a lot of upset people. But anyway, that's my spiel
Okay,
about the general selection.
appreciate that. So Bonnie could help put together a spreadsheet?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you, Mom.
Yes, my pleasure.
That would be awesome. And then we're all committed over the next week to weigh in and get this back to Bonnie on Monday? Or to you?
Yeah,
How are we gonna consolidate it or
I'll consolidate it, that's fine, I don't mind doing that. I'll consolidate it and then, so that we can have that done by September 16th. It'll be consolidated by September 16th.
okay. And then,
So our vote's done by like the 14th, 15th, somewhere around there.
okay. That weekend, end of the weekend. And then we need to see who's available the 21st.
If there's somebody available, great.
Okay.
I have kids on Friday and I can't predict. As
Right,
I've
yeah.
seen in some of our Zoom meetings, I can't predict when I have to jump up and do something.
Between dogs and kids.
Yeah,
We've got a
yeah.
full load.
I can definitely help, I just don't know my times yet. I think it starts at 9, doesn't it?
I think, I believe you're correct. I'll find out and let you know for sure that hours. I don't even know if we've registered yet. Oh, I don't know if that's something different. I'll find out and get back. I'll make sure you all know.
Cool, thank you. It's a massive amount of work. At some point, I would love to be like, okay, here's what the vote is, and then tune it with Ed, because I don't, one thing going through the positions is
Yes.
I'm not always aware of all the impact it would have. So that would be,
Last year, I think we did that, we had the little team phone call, because there's things that I don't understand, 3/4 of what's in here. The language that they use is
Yeah.
way above me, so.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember thinking, oh, this sounds good, and then when Ed explained the reality of it.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, gosh, no, yeah.
Okay.
Not so good now,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, but that's the way it is with lots of stuff.
That's why
Maybe we could send you our submissions and you can be like, you're right on target, you're what the heck are you thinking?
Veto?
Yeah.
Veto power?
Power.
Okay, veto power.
I like it.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, Golden? All good?
Golden.
Perfect. All right. First reading of select board policy, welcome artificial intelligence into our list of documents. Shall I ask for I found one little typo. 2023 BP, I think it's like the first edit on page 2. I think we're missing the word "and" between intelligence, comma, and interacting. Sorry, I didn't catch that sooner. And
So this is,
I think that's all I had.
I don't have any issues with this, but one of the things in this year's General Assembly, one of the amendments is all about local control. And just as a reminder, when we're looking at these policies, I feel like we don't see them if they're not applicable to us. That if we ever question something, make sure and do that like before the board meetings, like how applicable is this to us, and is this something that we really need? Some of those policies and stuff that come down through WASDA and get filtered out to districts might not fit boarding, but I don't feel like Ed or Bonnie actually put things out there that don't fit, but just as a reminder.
Okay. Any further discussion? Good. Then it sounds like we will move all of these forward for second reading.
Just a reminder, it's just the policy that gets moved forward for second reading.
What?
The
Not the
forms get
forms.
processed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always have lots of questions about the forms. I'm like, when is this going to be distributed? And who keeps a copy? Are we really going to use it? And I don't like forms. Period. So, but I'm withholding all those questions because the assumption is this has gone through staff and this is what makes sense for us.
yeah, that's one thing that just with this, I want to make sure that all staff understand what they can and can't do with the AI and our own. I don't, because you don't want to go in one room and they can't do this, and the other room they can, and it causes all kinds of. So if it's a policy like this, then they all know that this is.
Yeah, and I liked the levels of AI too, kind of for that reason,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that there's a shared understanding of what's allowed and what's not, given the
Yeah, I like that.
circumstance.
I actually really like it even for the kids to read.
Yep.
Because it makes sense.
Okay, so the one policy is moving forward. Okay, last item, board comments. I'd like to congratulate and recognize all of our directors, Ed, Bonnie, and all of our teachers and staff in the district on a successful start to the new school year. It takes just such a monumental effort. I thought kickoff was fantastic. And I felt really resonated with everyone and got us thinking, so I appreciated that. And this is a super exciting time of year. So welcome to all the students, new and old, and let's have a great year.
I loved the way the high school kicked off their year. When I was in school, believe it or not, this is how we did it. We read through the handbook. And the kids would sit there and we read the handbook. And it's like, who wants to come to school on the first day? And the kids are all sitting there. But I saw what they did. They were doing such fun things. And it's like you should start off with engaging fun things. You know, it's like that's a way to make them want to be there. And so I didn't see what everyone else did, but I did notice that the high school did some fun things. So I thought that was really cool. A good way to start the year.
We want to accomplish this year. Ready to go?
Just ready, so let's get this year going,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
All right.
I just want to suggest to everybody that,
No, teasing you.
I just want to suggest to everybody, when you hear comments, as we all have heard about temperatures in the schools, on the I've been hearing about all those things, and I always look at them and I say, that's why.
Yeah.
Vote.
Yep.